unbeaten sophomore Max Schneider, ranked #1 in the state at 145 pounds, could very well become Lane Tech's first state champ wrestler since 1946.
I believe to be a top level competitor, you have to stay focused the whole time and keep your cool.
Yeah, I started judo when I was around 6 years old, and then started wrestling when I was 13. So it was kind of my mother that wanted me to get into judo. I was a smaller kid, and they didn't want me to get picked on. So they're like, oh, he has to learn how to fight people. And they're like, do you want him to hit kids? And they're like, no, we don't really want him to hit another kid. You're like, do you want him just to control another kid? They're like, yeah, so they put me in judo. So my first tournament was actually the Tokyo Classic, and I don't think I won a single match. Yeah. I'm pretty sure the next tournament I fought in, I didn't lose a single match. My father started judo after me. I think there was one day where I was practicing at the Menominee Boys and Girls Club, and he was on the side and he's like, Max, you gotta do it like this. Like, you gotta do it like that. And after like maybe the third or fourth time, I was like, you know what? Why don't you try it yourself? I was like, you should just do it yourself and see how it makes you feel.
Called me out.
I called him out, and then he jumped on the mat, and now he's up for promotion for a Shodan. Finally going to join the Black Belt Club.
You take your falls. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It's a road worth walking.
Yeah.
Or falling.
Crawling at first.
Crawling
at first. You know, I worked with Holly Holm before her Ronda Rousey fight.
We brought in a young kid named Max Schneider, a future judo Olympian. I mean, you know, the credit goes everywhere, you know, but it ultimately goes to Holly Holm. She put it together, and she's fierce.
And honestly, the way she was training was extremely memorable. To watch her go from like morning grappling session with me, 90 minutes, straight to a striking technical session, afternoon run, weightlifting, night sparring session, and then every morning just rinse repeat, and like some variants, whether it's a lift that day or a swim that day, but every day, like it's a full-time job. She was just training. So going into that fight, I knew that her base stamina was going to be extremely high. So that is something that the tenacity of her training routine before that fight really caught my attention. I would say that wrestling complements judo in the fact that wrestling is a very hard-nosed sport, and you learn how to really break people. If you get someone so tired that they don't want to stand back up, you're probably going to beat them. So like the tenacity of wrestling really can translate into judo, and the finesse of judo is just such a more articulate sport. It really helps you move. Yeah. And if you move efficiently in wrestling, you can tire the other guy out. So it's almost like a nice counter to someone who's really tenacious. But if you don't have the base stamina to keep up with the tenacity, you're gonna lose either way. Each sport has a different rhythm to it. And being able to tap into that rhythm and be able to feint people, get them to follow your rhythms, and then all of a sudden change it on them. So currently I'm wrestling for my junior year, my redshirt junior year at San Francisco State University. It's a Division II wrestling program, so competing regionally and nationally for them, and then judo on the side, Olympic Training Center in San Jose when I can.
When did I realize that Max had the aptitude for judo? Yeah, it was right off the bat. His ability to move, and you didn't have to show his techniques more than once or twice, and he took to it. We knew that we had something special, but the only way to really make him grow was to make his road as difficult as possible, as hard as it is to throw him out there versus kids that were even as much as 40 to 50 pounds heavier. And his ability to somehow bow in and not back out, but always walk forward, it kept catching the next level coach's eye, and so he was always kind of sought after by the instructors, and people were willing to take him on trips without us to help minimize some of the expenses. So, the decision was already made. Keep pushing it forward in something that he seemed to enjoy doing and was very successful at. I mean, really successful. I mean, we started to keep track of the record, and we couldn't keep him out on the mat. He wanted to end the matches always quickly. So if the opponent was really not as good, we would drive 50 miles and he would come off the mat in 30 seconds, going, "Sorry, so you were supposed to work on being left-handed." Thanks for the 35.
Why don't
entry
you try
fee.
it? You should try it.
I'm still trying. Yeah, no, I find something hard to do, and I'll be excited. Thank you. Really easy for me.
And the rest is history.
The rest is history.